What's up, my fellow peripheral degenerates? Today I have the Pwnage Stormbreaker V3 in front of me. And I've been using it for a while now, like about 5 months basically. So, being the third iteration, is it any good? We're gonna find that out today. And I'll be honest, despite some minor issues, I really did enjoy using it. Alright, so starting with the design, it's pretty Pwnage-esque. There's a huge emphasis on edges and that pyramid aesthetic that you can see in the cutouts on the sides and even the top. It has like a deep, bright red to it, and the engravings on the main clicks at the top remind me of Final Mouse actually, but you know, with a little bit of a Pwnage spin on it, so it's pretty unique and I like it. It's a bold design that, you know, at the same time it is bold, it's not too in your face in my opinion because of the fading accents of red at the top. You know, in addition to the title being Bloodlines, the design itself is very vampiric. You know, it's screaming,
Wahahaha, I'm going to suck you off. I mean, suck your soul.
you know, overall it's a really cool design, you know, has a lot of edges to the design language, and honestly the red isn't too overpowering. So, you know, if you like edging, you're gonna love this mouse. But anyway, let's go inside and check out what's in the box. Alright, so for $180, I would say you get a decent amount of things. You know, it's no WL mouse with their e-waste, but it'll do. So you get the mouse, you get the dongle, you obviously also get the USB A to C. And you also get a shitload of dot skates and then also regular size skates for the mouse. You also get full-sized grip tape and then also mini grip tape. I mean, they're pretty good grip tape. I'm going to actually be honest here. They're pretty good. And then you also get a screwdriver if you want to go on the underside and adjust the sensor position up or down. Me personally, I would just keep it in place. And you also get the manual and a sticker. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So yeah, you can stick this on your backpack and take it to work and watch all of your coworkers lust over how cool and awesome you are for having a Pwnage sticker on your book bag. Alright, let's go ahead and see how this sounds now. Okay, yeah, so the microphone picked up the extra crispiness to it, but it honestly sounds like really great and snappy. I think I just upped the gain here to just hear the noise more, but honestly, I think the clicks do sound pretty good. So before I get onto the shape review, I just wanted to preface that I am a literal Smurf, and I live the unfortunate life of an actual Smurf. So I have a pretty short height and a pretty short hand, and I have a pretty short dick. But anyway, it's 6 inches by 3 inches. So I have a relaxed claw / palm grip, and for my hand size, it feels pretty comfortable. The ring and pinky finger feel really good on the side of the mouse, but I'm gonna say that people with larger hands are definitely gonna have trouble there, and they're gonna feel their fingers crowd. The back hump is not as prominent as other ergo mice, but the top part of the hump is the most prominent of any ergo mice I've felt. So you get a lot of knuckle contact and surprisingly a little bit more than maybe your palm contact. So it's honestly the most nimble feeling ergo mouse I've probably ever tried. So you definitely have less wrist stability compared to other ergo mice on the market, but that offsets with the more nimble feelingness of the mouse. So this brings me to my next point. I think this is actually one of the best claw grip ergos on the market for small hands. Because of that slope on the back, which gives you more contact with your knuckles, it actually gives a great ramp for your hands to more comfortably claw grip the mouse. And that wrist angle gives you great space for your pinky to grip the back. One of the best claw grip ergo shapes you'll probably find on the market for people with small to medium hands. But nothing really special for palm grippers. So before I get into the full review of the mouse, I just wanted to say I ran into a couple hiccups actually. And I will say it's been a very long time since I actually encountered hiccups on a mouse. If I would do long swipes on the Stormbreaker, the DPI just randomly resets back to 1600. It's like the weirdest thing. And whenever I try to reset it back, I can notice a huge latency spike for like 10-15 seconds until it goes back to normal. I couldn't really replicate this issue though, and for some reason after a little bit it just kind of went away and this issue just like never came back. And honestly, for $180 and for this type of issue to come straight out of the box, it's just unacceptable really. But like other than those issues, I mean, the performance was great. It has a 3950 sensor implementation, and honestly I think its implementation is not as great as like Razer or Vaxi, but it's pretty up there and pretty satisfactory. Like when you're actually playing the game, other than the aforementioned issues, you're really not going to feel any latency and it's going to feel very crispy and snappy. I think where this mouse excels at is really tracking. I think the high hump on the mouse allows you to have a more stable tracking experience, like for games like Marvel Rivals or Overwatch. But I think it really falls short in games like Call of Duty just because the flick accuracy just does not feel that great. Specifically, the end of my flicks did not feel very consistent. And I think the reason behind that is because I was getting a lot more knuckle contact, and noticeably more than the back hump. I felt like I couldn't properly stabilize at the end of my flick, and they always felt a little bit inconsistent and also did not feel stable trying to like reacquire the target at the end of my flick. And I was really able to get more stability in those end flicks when I switched to a claw grip. And that's when it really hit me that I think this ergo is a claw grip ergo first and foremost. And I think you'll unlock the true potential of the Stormbreaker if you're gripping it in claw. Which I don't think is a bad thing, to be honest. I think we have so many ergos on the market where it's mostly just for palm grippers. So it's really cool to see Pwnage try something different and have that sort of claw grip style for an ergo shape, which is really just like unheard of in my opinion. And while I think that's a great thing, you know, I also think it's kind of a drawback just because you have to grip it in a specific way to get the most performance out of it. In terms of click feeling while using the mouse, it feels phenomenal. I think the mouse has a great rebound and that allows you to spam the mouse button way more. Like it doesn't feel slow or mushy at all when you're spamming the mouse 1 and 2. So if you're somebody who spams the mouse 1 and 2 for whatever games that you play, you'll feel right at home with the Pwnage. And also just like a side note, I don't really have footage, but holy hell does the WebDriver run like ass on Google Chrome, dude. Like genuinely so slow, so sluggish. It sometimes resets the mouse information. Like it's just kind of ass. Like it's so bad, even for the ZenBlade 2, which I also have. Like I don't know if it's just like a me problem, but it really does run terribly. I would highly recommend just using Microsoft Edge, where it like works a million times better. But yeah, for like the overall performance, I think my key takeaways are that it's more of a claw-centric mouse. From an end-to-end flicks perspective, it's kind of mediocre. From a tracking perspective, I think it's amazing. And from a 3950 sensor implementation, I think it's excellent, but it's nowhere near the Razer or Vaxi levels, which are just like S tier in my opinion. And before you start yelling at me talking about, oh, you can't feel latency, this and that and whatever after a certain latency, bro, I'm deadass schizophrenic, bro. Like, I can feel the differences, especially on a 240 hertz monitor and a great GPU and CPU. And I even think Boardsy also mentioned that feeling that you can kind of feel slight distinctions between the same sensor implementation across mice. And honestly, for $180, the Pwnage sensor implementation should be like Vaxi and Razer's, and I think that's pretty disappointing. Now, I'm not saying it's like dog shit or anything, but you know, like, it could be better in terms of price to performance. Alright, so I've used this mouse basically for over 5 months. You know, I definitely have a great handle on what my expectations are for the mouse and how it's been performing for me. Starting off with the build quality, I think the build quality is really great. There was really no creaking or any flexing. The coding was kind of mediocre, at least for my type of dry, cold hands. It definitely needs grip tape. The click feeling and quality was phenomenal. I think it's definitely like a top 10 in terms of the click feeling. I really like the crispiness and the great actuation on it. The design of the Stormbreaker V3 Bloodline is also really cool and unique, and it's not really too in your face and it's not too gamery, which I really appreciate. From a software standpoint, I think it's kind of mediocre. It had some hiccups with my DPI resetting and such, which I did not really appreciate. And it also just runs like dog shit on Chrome. And I think overall their website too just does not really go well with Chrome, at least for me. I don't really know if it's just a me problem, but yeah, it's weird. From a shape perspective, I think this is the best ergonomic shape for claw grip users in my opinion. I think other grip types will just kind of fall slightly short on this just because you won't get great micro adjustments if you're not claw gripping it in my opinion. The high hump itself gives great tracking capabilities but falls short in the micro adjustments and the end of your flicks. From a sensor implementation perspective, I think it does a great job, but it's not as great as like the Razer or Vaxi implementation, but it's really just not going to be noticeable to the untrained eye, only schizophrenics. In terms of pricing, I really think this falls short compared to other gaming mice in the market. $180 is quite absurd, and in my opinion, this mouse is absolutely not worth $180, especially with the types of offerings you get from other companies. To be fair though, this V3 version seems to be a, I guess, limited edition collab, but it's not really limited. It's still available on the website. Overall, the pricing is super weird. This is the only Stormbreaker variant aside from the Max, and the regular versions are also priced at $170 versus the $180 copy that I have. And even at the $170, I don't really know how worth it is, to be honest. And funny enough, they have the Max version, which is just their bigger sized variant. And the pricing is so much better. They're sitting more at $140 and $150, which is way more reasonable than the regular sized version. So I don't know, the pricing just doesn't really make sense in my opinion. But overall, you know, I think it's not a bad mice at all. I just think if they changed the price, it would just definitely be a better sell for me in my opinion. And that's just really what I think about Pwnage as a brand. I mean, they don't really do anything original, right? I mean, their best glass pad was a Glassworks Kazemi clone. And their latest Trinity CF is just a copy of the Viper Mini Signature Edition. And honestly, even the Stormbreaker, right? It's a little bit of an offshoot of the EC, but I mean, what ergo nowadays is not an offshoot of the EC series? So I'll give him some slack on that. I think their best product at the moment is their keyboard, which they just really knocked out of the park with in terms of build quality, performance, and just overall feel. I would really love to see them be a little bit more original with their products other than obviously their adjustable sensor, which I think even G-Wolves is trying to go on board with now, but I mean, who knows how that patent shit's going to work out. But yeah, I mean, that about sums up my opinions on the Stormbreaker V3. You know, if there's anything else you guys want me to review, shoot it in the comments section. If you have any more questions on this mouse as well, just shoot it in the comments and I'll definitely be replying to you. If you really like the video, then hit me with a like. If you want to see an oiled up boardsy video, then yeah, also like. And if you really like my videos and want to keep watching them, yeah, subscribe to me. That would really mean a lot. Alright, I'll see you guys later.